Call the meeting to order. Griggs County Commission. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go and fix my hair.
Okay, roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Ron.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. All are here. Approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda for today?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Moved by Dale to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, approval of 3 sets of minutes, starting with April 22nd. Anybody see any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I guess I'll just abstain for the meetings when I'm gone because I don't want to make a motion to approve them when I had no idea that what you were talking about, so.
Okay.
You get called into the office for doing that.
Yeah.
I hear some diversion.
Yeah. That's true.
Just look around.
I make a motion to approve the April 22nd minutes as presented, dispense with the reading.
It's been moved by Sean to approve the April 22nd meetings and meeting minutes and dispense with reading. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 26th, which was a special session at 2 p.m. on Tuesday.
I make a motion to approve the April 26th minutes and dispense with reading.
Been moved by Dale to approve the April 26th meeting minutes as presented and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sean. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And lastly, the minutes for the special meeting on May 3rd. Jamie looked at any of these?
I don't know. I don't know if he has it. He didn't say anything to me.
Oh, sure, he gets the email too, packet. more of a procedural thing with these special meetings.
I move to approve the May 3rd meeting minutes as presented, dispense with the reading.
The move by Dale to approve the May 3rd special meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second? Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the bills.
Just one addition is the Information Technology Department bill for $639.45. If we could get that added.
That's for the wide area network and some VPN connections at the state. That's a recurring monthly bill from the state of North Dakota.
What do we have that's an intercommunity telephone?
The Griggs County telephone?
No, it says intercommunity. Oh, here we go, it's 911.
You found it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This doesn't matter to me too much, but Jessica signed this as a notary and she didn't stamp it.
She's not a notary.
It says notary public.
That's why she puts it down here. So that's just the deputy one.
So you don't need a notary?
I don't know.
It's asking for one.
I don't know.
Does anybody have any questions on the bills?
I'll move to approve the bills as submitted with the addition of the information technology bill for $639.45.
Been moved by Ron to approve the bills as submitted with the addition to the information technology bill from the state of North Dakota. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Here.
Dale? Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Monthly office reports, starting on page 22. Moved by Sean to approve the monthly office reports as presented. Is there a second? Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Wayne?
Sure. Looks like it's page 28 is the first thing. That's a copy of that policy that was put into place January 1st, 1998.
It's an excerpt from the minutes. Isn't there a policy book? When the commissioners create a policy, it doesn't go into a policy book. You got to go back in the minutes to dig it back out. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
This one probably should have disappeared.
That's a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
It also says $10,000.
You did it?
Well, I look for certain things, yeah.
Oh, okay.
$10,000 for emergency fund. Oh, was that 1 year or is it every year?
It has to only be 1 year because the commission can't encumber future commissioners. So you can't do that.
Right. Well, there it is, I guess, whatever you want to do with it. I talked to Jim Sidquick, I told him that we decided we couldn't participate in placement of your culvert.
I mean, we haven't done it since, have we?
Once in a while, not very often.
What about the height of soles on your shoes? Is that still in place?
Yeah?
I don't know how that got to be a hot button ticket item either. I don't remember
Higher
that.
than 1 inch. We no culvert. Yeah. So, if we talk about was in effect?
I'm not exactly certain, but I think in order for it to actually be binding, it had to be a resolution.
Does it look like there was a resolution of it?
And there is no resolution, no.
I
I don't see it, so I don't
This
think.
policy is all it says.
Yeah, and I know, I don't think it's even in effect, so that's.
Then the resolution was the $10,000 from Griggs.
Yeah, there had to be a resolution
to do that.
in order to take money out of the emergency fund.
Which may have been done.
Right, but that would be on a one-time basis, I couldn't.
It's not a
You
perpetual.
can't forward plan for an emergency.
Yeah, and since that time, there never has been an additional, any type of money budgeted for extra culverts for somebody else.
So what's the word? We don't need any action on this?
shouldn't need to. There's no resolution.
Okay. Is there a book or resolution someplace?
I'm coming up with one. Trying to go through some files and get a file.
I see.
Created, yeah.
It's in, I see.
Yeah.
You want us to take a break or what?
But there should be.
Might do something important.
There should be the resolution in the minutes if there was ever a resolution.
Yeah, it looks like they were gonna draw up a resolution to take it out of the emergency fund, but I suppose that.
They must
that
have
will
acted
show up
that
in the later.
In
the
that
next
later
meeting.
set of minutes or something.
And that policy was never written into like the guidelines or standards or anything like that either, any
Okay.
record, you know, so it's just, because I typed out that little card that said that 1998 is when we did this, and there was a sticky tab in the big book that showed we was going to.
I think it was never acted on with the resolution, so it probably never really actually went into effect, other than the emergency resolution for the one-time deal.
Right.
I didn't advertise it, and if nobody brought it up, I didn't bring it up because there was never any funds, and most of the time, well, a lot of times it was FEMA replaced a lot of culverts over the years, and
Right.
since '93.
Okay.
Okay. Then, probably have Jake talk about the box culvert project.
Got contacted this week by Midwest, and they gave me a preliminary schedule, and they would like to start that project on Highway 15 on June 1st. So we got the pre-job scheduled for next Tuesday here at the courthouse, so we'll find out some more information then. They, on their schedule, they figured 2 weeks to get it done. So that would put us in the middle of June, and the completion date is July 15th, so they should have it done in plenty of time, and Tom can get started on his gravel in November. Wayne gives him the go-ahead on that. And then we got our favorite project, talk about the seal coat project. We did talk to Dale this week, and Dale said he would like to possibly get started moving chips next week, hauling chips in, and then if the weather stays nice, they might even start chip sealing on May 16th, so a week from Monday.
Perfect.
But he would like, he said he wanted to know what the commission would like to do with the liquidated damages. I don't know if you guys have talked at all about that, discussed it.
Please.
So we'd like to have them pay them.
I suppose.
I didn't say anything about it because I didn't know what your guys' discussions were.
Right. We haven't had any lately.
They haven't. I suppose his concern is that he does the job and liquidated damages equal what he's gonna charge us for the job. He doesn't get paid nothing, so he doesn't wanna start until he knows what the guidelines are gonna be. I would imagine that's what it is.
Can you really charge liquidated damages when the state won't wait to do the work?
Well,
The contract states that, but
Yeah, because there was an end date in the contract,
Yeah.
and he didn't finish, he had time in that contract period.
Yeah.
He just let it run past the contract period, then the state wouldn't let it go. So the contract period, if he would have stayed there within it, would allow him to do the work.
Okay.
It's not our fault.
But then
Did
two
too many
days later, then he
jobs.
couldn't do the work, correct, because of the cutoff. So he missed the contract period date, and then he can't rely on them to say, not letting me do the work after I missed the period. And the way I see it,
He bid under the contract knowing there's a limited amount of time to be able to execute that contract.
There's like 4 days left
yeah,
last fall.
And he's got by with it by being waived in the past, so we just assumed it was going to happen again.
I don't know. I mean, I don't imagine that we can. We have to prove harm. How were we harmed by him not finishing the project? What was the financial harm of it?
And I can't really see any, we drove on some this morning, Hanford Road, to come back, the airport road. Can't really assess any financial loss in that too.
So
And then the damages would start then as soon as they start hauling chips, from the day they start hauling chips until the last paint is put on the last pipes.
if that would be as if we granted them an extension. Then, yeah.
So if they did start hauling this next week and they were done, got planned out, they say May
16.
16.
it would be like 14 total days.
And how
10
much
days.
are the damages per day?
$1,100 a day. So if we end up having 14 days, it comes out to $15,400 damages. That just gets deducted from their next pay estimate, or that would be their first pay estimate on this, in this case.
You can try it, see if it was too much. You'll know because they won't show up.
You'd like to get it done.
So that would be the way the state would have done it. They would have extended the contract and liquidated damages would have started from the time they put the first chips in the ground.
So I don't know if we have to have a new contract or anything.
According to DOT, we have to sign a change order with them for all the pay estimates to go through the state. And I don't fully understand why. I actually heard both ways, but I've heard it from two different people, the guy in Bismarck and then Ed also, that we do need to have a change order signed to basically give them a date that they can start this year, or how liquidated damages are getting handled. Because all the spec book says is no seal work can start after September 1st. Doesn't say if the project doesn't get done and you have to do it next year. Doesn't have anything on when that project can start again. All it says is no seal work can start after September 1st.
And the temperature of the pavement.
Yeah, and then the temperature of the pavement has to be at least 70 degrees. Which now with these days, it would take probably till 10 o'clock in the morning, but if the sun's out, the pavement's going to be above 70. So.
I guess if we get pushed to the front of the line, I guess it wouldn't go against my grain too much. If we tell them that if in fact you do show up on May 15th, we'll treat it like everybody else is treating it. And if you don't, then we're not going to.
So then they would pay liquidated damages from the time they showed up to the time they finished.
That's how everybody else is going to calculate it.
Plus 4 days last year, because our completion date was on the 28th of August, so then we got the 29th, 30th, 31st, and 1st that we could charge from last year too.
Jamie?
It's up to you guys. That sounds fair and probably the right way to do it.
Well, I mean, push it too far and they'll just say we're not going back.
Then we'll find someone else, and then we'll have a tough time getting people to do bids, give us bids too.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Need a motion to that effect, more than likely.
I'll make a motion that we have Jake drop a change order, laying out the extended dates of performance and the penalty for 4 days last year, and from the time they put the chips on the ground until they finish this year as liquidated damages. I think that should be everything. Change order will run till.
Do you want to stipulate when you want them to show up, or are they going to?
Well, no, I think that's in the.
I think we should maybe say, I mean,
We're not the only.
the guy really wants to just get the job done. I don't think he's gonna try to screw anybody. But maybe I think we should put in there that liquidated damages will start on a certain date, just in case he says, you know what, I'm gonna go out west and do my projects out there.
I mean, we're not the only one he's
No,
held
no,
up.
there's a lot of projects that didn't get to last year.
So what date would you want to start at?
The DOT used June 1st
Okay.
on all their change orders that they signed with them last
But
year.
if we start liquidated damages on June 1st, he might be come and gone by then if he starts on the 15th.
Or if they come.
Either or.
And
Okay.
maybe we should say in sometime in May, so that way ours start first, and then we know they're gonna come here first.
Okay.
We could say, I mean, because when they signed those change orders this last fall, I didn't know it was gonna be 90 degrees on May 5th or whatever it was yesterday, so.
Right.
Why don't we start May 16th? That gave us a week from this coming Monday.
If we're going to put a start date on it, then we need to put an end date on it too. Although liquidated damages would be incentive to get it going.
Dictate.
That's,
The only-
yeah.
The one thing I'd be a little worried about using the 16th is, let's say we do a really wet weekend next weekend and they can't start, and then,
Could you say weather permitting or something like that?
Well, when's the date if this was done, if there would have been a change order signed, the DOT won't allow it till June 1st, correct?
they would have allowed it earlier than that, if weather permitting. So with the way their change order read is that liquidated damages would start on June 1st or when the contractor started, whichever is earlier.
Well, let's just enact that change order then.
Just use June 1st and,
Let's just use the terminology in the change order. Let's just put that into effect. Modify it so it takes into the 4 days last year, and then whatever the change order is, and go by that.
Is the contractor responsible for signage again too then?
yep, they put the signs up and took them down all at their own cost last year. Nothing was charged to the county, so.
Okay.
I had a guy start staking it yesterday because we were pretty busy already, so I wanted to make sure we could get it staked if they
Is it a
start
bumblebee?
Yeah.
It
a
is.
week from Monday.
We haven't seen one of them for a long time.
I have Lord bringing some paper cups.
What's up? Trying to get in.
Same place the bird came in the other day. There's a bird from the courthouse.
So as far as the date of what date do you want to use? The June 1st date or
Would
like a week
June
earlier?
1st or any whatever date they started.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dan?
And as far as the graveling projects, I haven't got schedules from Tom or Mike River yet, but those probably happen in July, August. So that's not a problem. Do you guys have any questions for me or anything?
Next thing, River's already putting blacktop down on Peak Road.
Is that right?
Our setup at the Sibley hit.
That's the road I live on, the Peak Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on that for the last 2 weeks. And it's something that we can start thinking about, or for you guys to start thinking about. The Dahl Bridge is on the DOT's schedule to be bid in spring of 2017. And since it is on we're using federal funding. for part of it, and we're going to use House bill funding for the local share. But since there's federal funding involved, we have to follow their timeline, which is much more spread out than our like House bill Senate bill projects. We can just go through the environmental process plans pretty quickly, but with the DOT process, it's about a 6-month process. So if you guys do want to do that bridge next spring, I would suggest we get like the environmental work started late summer. Make sure we get that done. But just something for you guys to think about the next couple months, whether or not you want to do the project, and if you do, what kind of schedule you'd like to have.
Don't kill him. Catch the release program.
The beer whisperer.
So
And that would end up being a box culvert then?
that one was preliminary sized as a double 10 by 10. A little bit bigger than that one we're putting on Highway 15. That was 16 by 9. So, and using the cost that we've been getting this year, it looks like that project there would cost right around $340,000. That's with everything, all the environmental work, engineering, everything. So, but yeah. So you guys can let me know if you want to get going on that, and we can get the environmental people out there to do their wetland stuff and start that process, the permit process. So.
Okay.
But that's all I have. It's not a lot. We'll get that change order written up and approved, and hopefully we're up here next week or the week after with doing that seal coat. So.
Okay. What did you do, squash it when you got outside?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Good weekend.
I have a question.
Okay.
May we go back to the bills, please? I forgot to add the fair board with like their money. Can we add that? It would be in the amount of, hold on 1 second.
Can they wait 2 weeks? I mean,
He was in yesterday and said, Sam, you told me on the 5th. I said, no, I said the 6th. So he needs his money.
who's he?
Dave Hoverson.
It's not his money.
Like, these are all taxes here. Doesn't the system generate this stuff?
Say that again.
Just like ambulance or township.
Yeah, well, we have to put those in, and the fair board only gets it once. I think he comes in once a year to get that money, and now is the time he comes in.
Do you have an amount?
Yep.
Okay.
Just a moment. So it would be amount of $3,071.75, and that's what we budgeted for them this year.
Right, I'd move to add the bill to the fair board, the amount of $3,071.75.
Are you sure we can pay, when we pay out when we make these payments, they are based on the amount of
How much
taxes
taxes
collected
come
to
in.
date.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're paying this in full, we're paying taxes that haven't been collected yet. We can't do
And
that.
they're already supposed to go towards a certificate of indebtedness.
Right, so,
The way that, since you guys pushed them into the general fund this year, I can't see how much has come in for the fair. I can only see how much has come in for the general.
well, so that's the correct amount then.
But
So
on a percentage
the percentage
basis.
basis in the general is the percentage basis that you pay the fair board. So now if 80% of the funds of the taxes that come into the general fund, then you would take 80% times the total value due the fair board, and that's what they would be paid. So it goes right along as taxes are collected.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're paying the fair board money that we have not or might not collect.
Right.
Just like the JDA one is taxes from 2-3 years ago.
Right.
So they get a little dab of that.
So we'll have to wait till next month or next meeting so you can calculate that.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's going to create a problem on unpaid taxes.
Well, the books won't balance at the end of the year unless we have 100% collection.
Right.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No.
No, I mean, it'll be close, but it won't be 100.
No.
Do you know what percentage of taxes have been collected this time?
Well, you could use any one of the accounts. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
'cause they're all the same percentage.
They're all the same percentage.
Okay.
So if the school board has been paid, if the school has been paid,
85%.
that's what's
Yep.
going to collect. Right. Use a simple one. Use Garrison Diversion. That's a real simple one.
Yeah, that's 1 mil.
1 mil, yeah.
How much have they gotten?
To date. And then, well, you don't have to do it now. Use how much Garrison has gotten to date and divide that into the cost of 1 mil. That'll give you the percentage, and then that will be, then you take that percentage times whatever the total revenue that the fair board is supposed to produce. And that'll give you a number. But I mean, we can do that next week. That's or next 2 weeks from now.
Since you have a motion on the table, do you want to continue with that?
Hasn't been seconded.
It hasn't been seconded yet?
No.
Is there a second to the motion? We should have done that before we started yakking, but. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? Motion dies for lack of a second. Okay. Tax director.
I did not receive any applications, and they were supposed to be in by yesterday.
You didn't get round?
Like, did I miss something?
Are you gonna forge one for him? You have to do it. You applied.
You just have to sign the bar job. And that for carbon paper.
So, what have we learned on our thoughts of the commission being the
Tax equalization or interim tax equalization director until we find a suitable candidate.
I don't know what choice we got besides to do that. I mean, the work has to be done.
Do we have the ability? I mean, do we have the ability to do it? I mean,
I think based on that email, I think that we're gonna have to do the work, but I think we have to hire a tax director. We can't find one.
Try.
I don't know what the state can do.
Yeah, that email was wrong, I think. I sent an email to Kim Littmeyer, and she said, well, if the county tax director assesses some property, and then you take it to the county board of equalization, you have a conflict of interest. But we don't assess property.
that's right.
So, you know, it was pointless, her answer. But
Well, I think that's the only thing we can do now. If you can't find one, you're gonna have to keep on. The work has to get done.
yeah, I don't know what options we have besides that.
Are there any other counties that we can work with? Foster County?
You gonna call Steve?
I was going to until I found out who their applicant was for tax equalization director.
Okay.
Patty. She quit here. I don't think she probably wants to do that.
No comment.
And given the opportunity, I didn't know that you guys would even be interested, so.
How about working in Foster County? I don't know who they have hired.
No, I don't either.
I don't either.
So, the only response we got as to whether or not this is legal or not came from Kimberly Vetmeyer, is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
And she quotes 57-1207 as meeting the County Board of Equalization. So examine and compare the assessments returned by the assessors of all the districts within the county and shall proceed to equalize the same throughout the county between the several assessment districts. And her analysis of that, she says essentially, if the Board of County Commissioners are placing a valuation on a property and then are approving the valuations as the County Board of Equalization, you would be taking away a step in the equalization process. I would visit with your local state's attorney on the matter. If the situation was questioned by anyone, your state's attorney would have to defend the actions of both the County Board of Commissioners and the County Board of Equalization. I believe this would be a conflict. Ron pointed out that, of course, that the tax equalization director does not assess property, and that in essence, the tax equalization director works for the County Board of Equalization. Everything that she does has to be approved by us. So I don't think that there's a conflict.
If you take the assessing out of it, there is no conflict.
Not that I can see, but I mean, but again, what is the option? If we don't have one, would it be better off to just go without one and not get any of the work done, or could the county board be the interim tax equalization?
That's exactly it. I mean, what choice do we have? Not getting the work done, and your hand is kind of forced. If you want to get the work done, you have to do something with it. So I think that would be a pretty easy defense, and alternative the work wouldn't have gotten done.
So then we would have to have time at each county commission meeting to label tax equalization director. And we would have to sit and talk about the things that need to be done. And we would have to have a venue to have people that needed to talk or needed to come before the tax equalization director, just come to the meeting.
Just as we do this for the weed board.
Have you tried to advertise on job service or just on the newspaper or what?
Just in the newspaper.
I would try job service. It's going to cost the county a little bit more money, I think, but we have to do something.
It's still the scenario, even if we get somebody, are they going to be qualified, or are we going to send them down the same road that we've sent everybody else, where it's too daunting a task? And we end up doing more work trying to double check and triple check the work they've done to make sure that they don't put us in a bind, right? You know, I would recommend just advertising on the county website continually, and we act as interim equalization director until we get a appropriate applicant. Yeah. Maybe when we do get an applicant, maybe that applicant works with the county commission for a period of 6 months in joint with us until we're we're confident they understand what they're gonna do and can do it correctly.
Just listening to the back and forth communications that you guys have had with the state gives me the impression that their goal is for the tax director to be the county assessor.
The county doesn't use it because we have no property.
That's what they'd like, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this Kimberly Bittmeyer, I think she's a pretty young gal. I'm not sure how, when I looked at her response, I just thought, boy, is she stupid. Sorry, Kim.
Might be ignorance.
Maybe she's been taught that.
I've asked her questions before, and she usually has to go to other people.
Well, don't you think the ultimate goal is just like the state and other matters? They want to have a equalization director that is under their care, their training, so that they can impose their policies on the counties, and to have it going otherwise where we just read the rules and follow the rules and don't go by their training, that's contrary to what they want done. So they're going to block that to a certain extent. If they truly had a noble goal of equalizing the properties within Griggs County, who better to do it than the people here in Griggs County that own and maintain the properties. And so I don't know what the legal remedy is or what the legal consequences are.
We can find out.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, what
Choice do we have?
what choice do you guys have right now?
Yeah, I'm sure
The work has to get done. And if
Well,
it's
let's
not-
try it.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope they would apply the same policies to themselves, just meaning the state that they put on us. Where the township couldn't get an assessor, it fell to the counties to find the assessor. Well, if the county can't find a tax director, why doesn't it follow the state to follow up and find us one? Which probably isn't the best scenario anyway, because then you get it.
They'll get what they
you
want
get
in
it-
here.
You get a cycle. So let's try it.
Motion?
Yeah, I'll move that the county commissioners be appointed as the tax equalization director on an interim basis until we can hire a new tax equalization director.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
Could we, I think a new qualified tax equalization director.
That kind of, okay.
Good point.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now, Mr. Dahl, you're gonna explain this to me. I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, I prepared it obviously for a constituent and a neighbor. And the basis for it was real simply, Patty Lawrence did the exact same thing last November.
Yep.
And her application says that she requested that the true and full value be reduced to match the sales price. And it was just routinely approved by Cooperstown and approved by us. So I just did the exact same thing. I tried to use the exact same words, that true and full value be reduced to match the sales price. And I took it to Cooperstown and they recommended that it be denied. And I don't think that's right.
But they passed the other one.
Yeah, they passed the other one. It's discrimination, I guess, or it's just plain wrong.
What was their recommendation or reasoning for recommending that it was
There
denied?
was no reason, you just said denying that.
Yeah, it just says denied on the application. I have talked to Farrah, and Farrah said the Vanguard software is always correct. Except in the case.
This is what I got.
But she said, what's that?
This is the response that I got. I had, talked to her about it, and she says it goes to the county for their decision. Also, the city assessor is the one who has the correct information to determine the value, and that is what the city council needs to abide by. That is why we have city and township assessors. They are qualified to determine the values.
So the sale price isn't a fair representation of its value.
Does this lady have to go back and pay the seller more money then?
Well, it depends on who you are. If the city council likes it, then they'll approve it.
Yeah.
But if they don't, in my case, if they don't like me, then they'll reject it.
I mean, we just approved, they approved one, we just approved one identical to this.
Yeah.
And now they just approved one with the same basis.
Yeah, the words are the same.
I don't get it. I mean, we can't override their decision.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, you can?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we
That's
can.
just a recommendation that you guys deny.
Yeah, on the next page, it's, it puts there that the recommendation of the city of Cooperstown is to approve or deny. Then below that is action by the Board of County Commissioners. And in the censure code, it says that we can approve it in whole, approve it or reject it in whole or in part. And then if we do decide to reject it, then we have to put
Reasoning.
a few sentences there on why we rejected it.
So, to me, there's more to this story than what I've heard so far. Is there? How do you buy a house for $2,400?
Well, this is the one, maybe a little more background, I'm sure. It's the Leonard Trosted's house that's behind me, and the Carol Trosted put it up for auction in 2007, I think. And the bidding, it was it was an estate sale where they put out all of the household property, and then we bid on the house. And it was me and two other guys that started bidding on it. And we started at 600. Then at about 1,000, one of the other guys dropped off. And I thought maybe I could make a little money buying the damn thing. So I foolishly, probably, I kept bidding it up. My bid was 2,300. And then the other guy bid 2,400. And I was damn glad I didn't get it because I don't think I would make much money on it. And I lost my ass probably. But nobody there. I mean, there was a lot of people
So that
there.
is probably fair market value.
Well,
Well,
if it was
sure.
sold on an auction sale, I would say that would be fair market value.
Yeah,
wouldn't
because
it?
you'd have to tear it down.
It's an open outcry for.
Oh, so it's vacant.
Yeah, it's in bad shape. I think the roof has been leaking ever since then, and there's no furnace in it and no heat in it. I think it's got mold in one end to the other. So the only reason I would buy it is to tear it down and
The lot.
see if I can sell the lot.
So there's absolutely no value to the improvements. It's whatever a lot's worth in Cooperstown, North Dakota.
Well, I don't think anybody should be allowed to live in it, but really, Karen's husband, ex-husband, Rick, he's a cook at the Coachman. He had been living in there, but last winter he moved down to the Wonder Rest, and he's been living there ever since then. I see him over there sometimes picking up stuff, but I don't think he wants to live in it.
Well, I would think the $2,400 value is too high. I mean, maybe $2,400 was paid for, but it certainly went downhill since then. We've sold lots of houses here on public auction for a lot less than that.
Yeah, that was Steve's advice to me, you'd better stop bidding.
Yeah. But I guess the main thing is why is there an inequity between what happened 2
Similar
months ago
situations.
and what happened now? And in fact, it's really an inequity because the house that was depreciated or reduced to the selling value is a livable house. This one isn't even a livable house. So this one should actually have a lesser value than the selling value.
That was my point.
Yeah, it should be.
So, question for you. So he hasn't paid his taxes for 3 years either.
Was that in there? I missed it.
The special assessments, they can't go away. If you own the real estate, you pay the special assessments, correct? So we're talking about an amount here that is, I mean, the special assessments are worth more than the taxes on the house anyway.
Special assessments are based on footage
Of street.
of the
Yeah, it'd be just an adjustment of the true and full value of the special assessments will all stay as they need to,
Yeah.
based on the new true and full value.
I'd say yeah, probably end up
Are you gonna
going
go,
up for tax sale the way it look. I mean, the $1,200, almost $1,300 of taxes
Yeah.
against the property that's worth nothing.
Yeah, I just told them, in this case, that I try to help them get it set straight, get it set to the true and full value, is that what it should be?
And, you know, this isn't a lone issue here in Cooperstown. As time goes on, the reasoning and the inaccuracy of the Vanguard appraisal is becoming more evident because we have home after home selling
Tons of them for
far less
if they sell at all.
the appraised value. And of course, that was going to rear its ugly head because the whole purpose for the Vanguard assessment was to raise values in order to raise the value of a mill. And so there is no hiding, you know, they thought once it's done, it's done. That's not the case. So now we're saddled with the fact, the city's saddled with the fact, the county's saddled with the fact that we're overcharging
For homes.
our taxpayers for no other reason than
They need more money.
they need more money.
Every time a property sells, it's gonna show that it was overvalued by the software.
Just don't put that selling value into the software. The software doesn't know.
Yeah.
But make sure that if you have a property that sells more than the value in Vanguard, you put it in there because the software does know. And of course, the software is never wrong.
depends on who operates it, right?
Garbage in, garbage out.
That's the way it's always been. So,
I guess with that said, I'd make a motion we approve the application for abatement of taxes
Yeah,
on the Karen Road.
and the amount should be from page 33. It was $4,400 plus the taxes of 2006 and 2007. So I think it should be reduced to that $2,400 plus the taxes of 2006 and 2007 that the buyer did have to pay.
That was a selling price, or was that a fee paid after the selling price?
Well, they just, at the auction, they just said, and I can't remember the number, but they said whoever buys this is gonna have to pay these taxes.
Right, but that wouldn't be in addition to the selling price, and that would be because you own the property.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought maybe it should be, I mean, I knew if I would have bought it, I would have paid $2,400 plus paid these taxes. I don't know how that.
But that wasn't the price of the property. That was a price you had to pay to acquire the property. Right?
Yeah, $2,400, and then after that you had to pay the tax.
And they were paid, so I mean, the taxes back taxes were paid.
Well, yes, I imagine whoever bought it just paid the tax.
Well, they would have had
Yeah,
to register the deed.
yeah, I suppose.
typically the seller pays the taxes, but
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think in this case, I know the auctioneer said that
Yeah.
we would have to pay the taxes.
so what are we doing
What's
here?
your recommendation?
Well, you made a motion.
I made a motion to approve the abatement of
Where's the amount of the abatement shown?
It's on page 29.
29.
The form is just exactly like Patty's, but in this case, it was, the true and full value of 27,700.
So we don't know what it's gonna be. She's gonna calculate that, or the treasurer.
The what?
The treasurer does that.
We don't know what the dollar amount is.
Well, it'll be set to a true and full value of $2,400.
Right. But this isn't abating prior years.
No, I didn't have, I thought of asking for that, but I didn't. And I still might. I didn't ask for that.
Because then that would, if we abated prior years, then that would reduce the tax owed.
Yeah, I just, it seemed like.
Well, again, there's been a policy set, not by us, but by the city to approve things like this, and then all of a sudden they don't approve something like this. I don't think that's,
No, I don't think it's.
in the spirit of equalization.
That's not
I
equalization.
think they should face a discrimination lawsuit. If they want to operate that way.
You have to sue the Vanguard software.
Well, Well, more of them, that they apply the rules so inconsistently. That can't be legal.
Well, you never know in government, it might be legal, but it certainly isn't moral.
But anyway, I
They're
will
very
second.
legal and ethical aren't the same.
No, that's for sure. But I will second Sean's motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the tax abatement application be approved as presented. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
John? Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Beer and liquor license for what's Alta Duo?
What's that?
Limited liability.
I don't know.
That Mike Lund?
Yeah, his wife, yeah. Doing business as a renewal resort, I don't know what Ultra the duo is, but.
This is a renewal from last year?
6 months, yeah.
Oh, it's only 6 months?
He has a 6 months license.
Oh, I see.
Just like,
Seasonal, isn't it?
yeah, seasonal. I would make a motion that we
Approve the application for the liquor and beer license for Red Willow Lake Resort.
And move that we approve the beer and liquor license applications for Red Willow Lake Resort. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'm not gonna take it with me.
Perfect. Yeah, he said that he probably wouldn't see you, but he didn't know, and then he said you can just send him anyway.
just put it in the middle and we'll, I'll apply the customary legal charge when I get to
Take
A beer and a jar.
Always dreamt of living in Chicago.
Protection fee.
Percentages. Yeah, percentages sales.
Cell phone bill.
From my distributorship.
What's this one? There's nothing in here. Is there for a state's attorney's cell phone bill?
Nope, you had asked that it get put on the agenda at the last meeting.
I did.
Yep, you did.
Yeah, and Troy and I talked about it really quickly. I'm just gonna cancel the county cell phone and use Nelson County's for Nelson County, not Griggs County, so I don't have to carry 3 cell phones.
Did you talk to them? So we'll just pay half the bill or
for
something?
that.
Okay.
I just spoke to the sheriff when it comes out of his office, so.
And then you'll have to
I'll
call.
just submit a voucher. Yeah, I'll have to call and cancel.
Yeah, because for some reason they won't let me do anything because my name's not on there or something.
Okay. Do you have that business guy's number?
I can find it for
Would
you.
you send it to me?
Yeah.
Is Kelly gonna come up for the grant?
Nope, she is not here today. So this was just an email that she had sent.
So this is a 75-25 deal?
Yes,
It was, yeah.
So
we've paid him 25% more than that.
what now?
We've paid him 25% more than that.
We've spent 25% more than 124,847. Okay.
Correct.
So that is the number we're waiting for.
Yeah, waiting for the check.
And then she's working on another $32,000 if she can, kind of deal.
Yeah, the finishers have qualified. I'm not sure that in
That was sent in a long time ago, wasn't it?
I think.
I thought it had to be done by the first of the year, wasn't it?
there. It was.
I'm surprised that it hasn't been reimbursed yet.
And actually, didn't we send part of it before that?
It seemed like it.
I thought we had some that she already had the.
Well, I had the question on,
I thought we bought some high-tech
I
stuff.
thought we sent some stuff in and then she had to get the rest of it done by the first of the year.
It seemed
Right on the back.
the question I had was in Connie's email here, I haven't received anything lately.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
I don't think that she's received anything.
Can you call her and ask her? I mean, that lately implies that there has been something paid on it.
Or she can't remember. And maybe she just went by her memory.
Right.
Couldn't recall it.
We should know that. I would think.
Miss Connie is not in today, but I can email Christy about it.
Yeah, all we would have to check would be that account and see if anything's been in there.
Because we set up an in and out, account, didn't we? Budget.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be just budget. If there has been anything coming in, it would be prior. I would think.
Is it courtroom grant? Is that the account that you guys set up?
Yeah, but it wouldn't. Well, I mean, you can look in 16, but I don't think it came in 16, but it would be 15 or 14.
Because there's like no money in there at all from
Yeah.
any.
Who knows where it went.
I'm almost certain we sent one before the end of the year too.
Yeah, I thought we said 3 altogether, but one for some of that equipment, the sound system, something, and one for some construction.
Last one was for the furniture.
Yeah, last one, number 3, I thought was for the furniture, so.
But did we pay for the furniture? We must have.
I think we did, right.
That when I found the voucher that we paid for furniture, but Kelly isn't here for me to talk to her about any of that, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably in Fargo, I guess, at Next Center, waiting for us.
I think that she did get her vault, I think, or a vault thing, and it's over there, but I don't.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see what money's available and go from there. We can move forward, also go into the house portion here. Or is that where we're at?
That's where we're at, John.
Okay. Maybe we better brief everybody on what happened at our special meeting.
Brief Sean, I guess you probably read the meeting minutes.
I briefed him that night when I talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
So, we are going to need some building authority members. Who would agree to sit on that thing?
I will. I've said all along, I've tried to get on there and I can't really say anything at all. So.
Dale?
Yeah, I will.
Ron?
I really don't care too much.
Just so not?
No, I don't, just assume that.
Sean? So there'll be three of us. Then the question would be, in my mind, do we try to recruit a couple people out of the community? Or do we just run it with three and that's enough?
Well,
The bylaws permit, maximum 5, minimum 3.
yeah.
So we don't have to do anything right now. Maybe we should just do nothing until we think there's a need to do something else.
To minimize the effect on the taxpayers, I think we should try to see exactly what we can get done without having to source any more money. I mean, let's see what grant dollars are available. Let's see how far that'll get us. Let's get some bids and see where we're at this thing. Let's take a walkthrough and see what we can cut out to try and minimize the costs of this. And ideally, if we could get it up and running but not completely finished and spread it over a couple different
Budget cycle?
budget cycles, maybe we can get this done without having to cost the taxpayer any more than it's already cost them. Because that was the main goal of this, was to minimize the effect on the taxpayer. And with the way things were going, there was money being spent that didn't need to be spent, and if it wouldn't have been spent, this thing would have been finished. And so maybe we can try to put this back together in such a fashion that it has a minimal effect on the funds needed.
Right, but the taxpayers are going to pay either way.
That's right.
Whether you borrow some money and alter the lease or just do it as you can.
Right.
There's an argument to be made that it's more fair for present and future taxpayers to stretch the liability over a longer period of time because you're investing in something that has long-term value. So to go build to make a capital improvement with 2015 tax dollars, for instance, it benefits people that are going to pay taxes in 2030, but all of the cost is borne by today's taxpayers. There's some that wouldn't agree with that approach, but just something to think about.
It is. I mean, the downside of that is that debt has an accumulative effect. So the least debt we can put onto future taxpayers now, the more wiggle room, so to speak, the more borrowing authority they will have in the future. So you can accumulate a debt where it can tie the future's taxpayers' hands to do anything until they get things paid for that have been done prior to their being taxpayers. So it works both ways. And
Right.
The argument for your form of funding And the argument, I would say the argument against your form of funding is our federal government. They've been doing just that forever, and all of a sudden we have a $19 trillion debt because we keep indebting the future taxpayers.
And I'm not in favor
No,
of
I don't
that
know.
either. The only reason I bring it up is just because
Easy.
it is a capital
Yeah.
expenditure. And I think the voters have spoken loud and clear that they really don't want these 5 guys making borrowing decisions for the county. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
So to go use the same mechanism to do some more of it doesn't make me feel very good.
Neither.
So I agree with you, but I just wanted to bring it up so we covered the gamut, so to
Yeah.
speak.
That's a McKinsey theory of economics is where that philosophy comes from.
What's that?
Why should we be paid for now if it can be paid for tomorrow by the future users of the
The problem with that theory is now and in the future, it isn't really needed. So, bad theory.
Unfortunately, we don't have.
But that's water over the dam, so.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't make a decision that retroactively does away with what they thought the need was.
No, that's the problem.
We're stuck with need.
That's the problem.
But I think.
But it's an argument not to do it with the debt instrument. That's all I'm saying.
It's
Not that we need one, but
no. But I mean, in sticking with the whole principle of how this thing took place, I think we at least owe it to the taxpayers to make an attempt to not further indebt them. And if we have to, I believe we should put the reward of the people.
I agree.
Given that, there is some wiggle room, but it doesn't have to be done exactly as the plans were laid out. And I think if we do it as a county, rather than the building authority, we'll have more latitude also. Because the only way we can do it as the building authority is to amend the lease so that we can take county dollars and pay to the building authority, who then will pay whatever debt is incurred. If we do it as a county, the lease does have provisions to put taxpayer money into the project as long as we identify what that taxpayer money paid for, and that becomes property of the county or equity of the county. So I think we just see what funds are available and see what we can do.
And it may not even be possible that the trustees or trustee is going to allow us to amend the lease and we can borrow more money.
Right.
Well, I talked to him yesterday. I don't think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
He called me. Tim did yesterday.
I just think that because of the position that everybody's in now, that there's a lot more latitude, and we couldn't ask questions of the Bank of North Dakota or the trustee before. We had to have that okay through the building authority. Of course, that wasn't going to happen. We couldn't ask questions of the building authority; they wouldn't answer us. At least we can ask questions now and formulate a plan on how to do this thing. And once it's done, there isn't much need for a building authority. It can stay there, but it really doesn't. We wouldn't want it making any other decisions, and it can just lapse into ambiguity. Given that, I don't know if we need any more members on there, or it wouldn't matter if somebody wants to be on there. That's fine too. I just can't see where the building authority is going to make many decisions going forward here.
But if we do, these guys have to live with them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Trust it? You trust it?
So given that, I think we should start exploring what we're going to prioritize as far as finishing this. And I believe the first priority should be what can be done only in the summertime. And I think that's the outside part of it. Because if we let that lapse until after freeze up, it's a whole other year. We can't open it with the way the outside is, and it'd be a liability. You have to have something put in place.
Are we gonna general this thing? Like we did the EOC, or do we wanna look for somebody to do that?
Well, in the interest of saving money, I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, there's the concrete and that can be put out on bids real easy. The interior work could be split up and put on bids fairly easily.
Okay.
I think first thing we better determine is what monies are available, and that will prioritize where we're going to go.
We did budget some money for this purpose, didn't we? For 2016?
The money for the new courthouse was budgeted to take care of, in my recollection, to take care of the insurance and the heating and that kind of thing, wasn't it, Ron?
Well, yeah, there were several different categories, but I know there was that one. For
Yeah.
the heat power one.
Don't think
We didn't really know what that number was gonna be at the
No,
time.
the following year, we did budget some towards the new courthouse that we thought would be for construction, but I don't think this year there's money there, but there is some money in a reserve in the general fund. We decided not to be so specific about,
Okay.
but in order to use the money in the general fund reserve, we're gonna have to go through and determine what budgets are going to stay within their budgets, and if any are gonna go over, how much they're gonna go over before we spend that money.
Right.
So,
You do also have $21,509.28 of EOC grant monies.
yeah, 21,000. And that really isn't,
It's reimbursement money, I mean, it's
That's-
not grant money.
No, the grant money was spent, that was what was left of the 25% match that we put in. Because we're running that all to that account, it ended up.
A little residual.
So given that, and if we could max out what we have here, we'd have close to 160 or 70,000 dollars. And that's a start. We do need to get a hold of the contractor. We need to find out where the rest of that carpeting is.
You guys do need to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, apparently it's gone.
Yeah.
Somebody absconded it?
Well, that's, when K&J came out there, they just said, boy, you
It's
guys
short.
don't have nearly enough carpet to finish this thing.
So we need to look through and find out if we were paid for, if it was ever paid for, and where it is.
And I think Connie did look that up at one time, and we had paid for it, I believe, but she found the receipts someplace, I think, so.
So I'll get started on that and see what something goes.
Anything else?
Almost a record quick meeting.
Time is it? 2:30? Pretty early.
far as building authority meetings, do those need to be recorded or anything like that? Or
So,
as far as building authority meetings, do those need to be recorded?
well, we gotta wait until the paperwork's completed and the official resignation and then.
It's not an entity of the county, so I don't think you want,
Nothing to do with it.
you're not involved with it anyway. Unless you want to volunteer.
Well, I guess you pay your $1,700 a month.
Very well.
I think before we take over the building authority, we better make sure they don't have any accounts payable. I don't know how we do that unless we run our lien search or something, but, I mean, there shouldn't be any liens out there, I wouldn't think.
I would also advise you guys to look into some sort of insurance for yourself as well for it.
We're not gonna do anything.
Nope.
Move we adjourn.
Been moved by Sean that we adjourn. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Jim. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 2:27 p.m. Next regular meeting will be Friday, May 20th.